I'm Mark Sponsler from StormSurf.com, and welcome to the surf forecast for the Hawaiian Islands for the week starting Friday, December 9th. Brought to you by your surf authority, expert advice, and friendly staff, Hawaiian South Shore. Be sure and like and subscribe. Ring the bell. You get automatic notifications when the videos are posted, typically on Friday afternoons. All right, let's get to work. First off, let's do a quick check of surf around the islands. We'll start down on the South Shore. Barbers Point buoy, number 238, right there. We're looking at all the energy that's hitting the buoy from the whole way up to 33.3 seconds, super long period swell energy, which there is none, the whole way down to 5-second period wind chop. We see a little bump here at like 15, 14 seconds. And then there's some wind swell in the 7 to 9 second period range. Integrating that all together, we see primary swell, or the largest swell, is 3.3 feet at 7.9 seconds. That's like 2.5 feet Hawaiian theoretically, and then that secondary bump of 1.1 feet at 14.7 seconds, so 1.7 feet. Looking at the waves on the South Shore, it's maybe waist high on the set, something like that, so that's about right. Let's go take a look up north. We'll go to the Waimea Bay buoy, number 106, and we see that there is a little bit more energy, so a little bump here in the 14-second period range, and again, more wind swell in about the 9-second period range. Primary swell, 4.1 feet at 8.2 seconds from the northeast, 36 degrees. Theoretically, that would make about 3.4-foot surf Hawaiian. And then that secondary bump, 1.4 feet at 13.7 seconds, about 2-foot Hawaiian. And on the North Shore, waves are shoulder high, something like that at top spots. Pretty lined up, pretty clean at some spots, and certainly rideable. All right, let's go look into the future. We're going to look at jet stream level winds first. These are winds up about 30,000 feet that help support the formation of gales. When those gales form, they help direct their track. We're looking for a trough, a dip in the jet, and we see one right there. We see, what is that, about 170 knot winds pushing. This is Japan right here. The Bering Sea up here, the Aleutian Islands, you can just barely see it right there. And then Alaska, California, U.S. West Coast. But there is a trough right here. Hawaii, oh yes, right here is Hawaii. Right here. So when you get these troughs, that helps support a counterclockwise flow aloft, an eddy, and also down at the ocean surface. That's the hallmark of low pressure. And low pressure, if it's strong enough, generates winds. Winds, if they're strong enough, get traction on the ocean surface and generate seas. Seas, as they radiate away from the fetch area, turn into swell, and swell, when it hits your beach, turns into surf. So we have a little trough here, maybe that's supportive of gale development. We also have another trough off the U.S. West Coast, but Hawaii is right there. That trough is east of the Hawaiian swell window, so we're just going to ignore it completely. As we get into Saturday, the trough kind of pinches off here in the Northwest Pacific. Probably isn't doing a whole lot for swell production, yet winds are still pretty good. Notice the jet consolidate pushing off Japan, but then when it gets right about to the date line, it splits with most energy tracking north and a little bit tracking south. Now, if you want to see a real trough, here's one over California. Again, does nothing for Hawaii, but just that's kind of what we're looking for, but we want to see it over here. As we get into Monday, we're still looking for some sign of a real trough, a little bit of one, trying to organize as we get into Tuesday, the 13th of December, and then a much better one as we get into late Tuesday and Wednesday, right here with 140 knot winds pushing down into it. Hawaii's right here. This looks like potential. Look at that big, like, comma. It's literally the jet is doing a counterclockwise flow, and that doesn't even count the winds that are down at the surface and anything else. So that looks very supportive of gale development. That trough starts pinching off as we get into Thursday, and then a secondary little trough digs out here north of Hawaii. That also could be supportive of gale development and close to the Hawaiian Islands, maybe some raw swell. Notice the jet as we get into Thursday night and Friday, pushing very hard off Japan and making it not quite to the date line. The date line's right there. 190 knot winds. Long term, that looks like it could be supportive of gale development, but this split point right here is the trouble. It needs to move a little bit more off to the east. This is all sort of remnants of La Nina and that sort of thing, but we think as we get deeper into winter, that's all going to change. The jet will push further across the North Pacific, and the potential for storm development will increase. All right, let's go take a look down at the surface. Here we are, surface level pressure, surface level winds. As expected, a gale off Kamchatka. This was actually off the Kuril Islands and actually got some traction, producing some seas. We're going to get into that in a minute. But looking forward, that quickly fades out. Now we're looking for any sign of, well, here's a little bit of a gale forecast on Sunday, trying to get organized. Little blip of 30-foot seas, sort of aimed at the islands, but mainly to the north. We're not sure whether that would even be a swell producer or not. But certainly, as we get into Tuesday, the 13th of December, a real gale, actually that's 45-knot winds. The dark red is 50-knot winds. Officially, that would make it a storm developing, with 55-knot winds, a little that purple, light purple right there, aimed well at the Hawaiian Islands. If this materializes, well, look at that. That is a classic storm. Theoretically, that could make some large, long period surf, but the models have been very unstable. We're not going to get too excited about this yet, but certainly something to keep your eyes on. And then as we get into Thursday, another broad system develops off of Kamchatka with 30 to 35-knot winds. The question is, see, look at that. It doesn't move any further east. It's like locked there. It's like a brick wall somewhere along the date line, and nothing happens. But then, remember that local gale we were talking about, the jet dipping down like that? Well, there it is, 30-knot winds aimed back at the Hawaiian Islands on Friday the 16th of December. So yet another opportunity for swell production. All right, let's go take a look at the effect of those winds on the ocean surface. Now we're going back in time just a little bit till Thursday night, early Friday the 9th. Today, basically, that little gale developed pushing off the Kuril Islands, produced a tiny area of 32-foot seas, something like that, and then quickly faded. But the point being, small swell from that has already been generated and is working its way towards the Hawaiian Islands, but the operative word is small. So looking forward, remnants of that Kuril Island gale fading out today, pushing up into the Bering Sea. Not a whole lot expected from that. Another gale forecast developing Monday on the dateline, producing 30-foot seas, something like that, aimed somewhat at the Hawaiian Islands, but then fading, maybe some seas behind that, hard to say. And this model is a little bit older. We're having some technical difficulties. Now, we know there's another gale forecast, or the storm forecast developing Wednesday here. This version of the models doesn't even show it. But then we also know there's that secondary fetch right here on Thursday, Friday, forecast north of the Hawaiian Islands, aimed back at the islands. So, plenty of potential on the charts. All right, so let's put it all together. Starting on Saturday, December 10th, northwest background swell, 1.5 feet at 12 to 13 seconds early. So that's maybe 1.5 to 2 foot Hawaiian. We'll say waist high, maybe some chest high peaks. And also that northeast wind swell fading a little bit, 3.8 feet at 8 seconds. So theoretically 3 feet, probably not even that big. We'll say it's waist high, something like that. Sunday, we're saying no swell of interest, but that northeast wind swell is supposed to continue, but even smaller still. Monday, low odds of background Kuril swell from the Kuril Islands, building to 1.5 feet at 16 to 17 seconds later in the day. 2 to 2.5 foot, so we'll say waist, maybe chest high. That swell continues on Tuesday the 13th, 2.4 feet at 13 to 14 seconds early, so 3 foot Hawaiian, we'll say chest high. And then that swell fading as we get into Wednesday from 2.1 feet at 12 seconds early, 2.5 feet. Now what we're not saying is beyond that is potentially much larger swell from a gale forecast. It's still, 5-6 days out. Forecast on the dateline, maybe larger swell Thursday, Friday sort of thing. And then we'll have another forecast for you on Friday. So things looking pretty good. Small swell for Saturday and almost flat on Sunday, but then modest swell Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then potentially something much bigger beyond. Certainly, we're into winter. Certainly, the jet stream appears to be waking up. It's not unexpected. We're due for some larger surf, so maybe, fingers crossed, we're going to get lucky. All right, that's it for this week. Be sure and do your shopping at Hawaiian South Shore, and we'll do this again next week, same time, same channel. See you then.
Mahalo for checking us out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please continue supporting us by subscribing to our channel. Aloha.